Good morning and welcome to Get Real America.
I'm Bill Edwards.
I'm Brittany Brown.
Happy Halloween.
Yes, happy Halloween.
Yeah.
It's like perfect weather out there for it. Nice foggy morning.
Uh-huh.
So perfect setup for Halloween.
Yeah, kids should have a great time tonight. Weather should be almost perfect around here. I was looking at the forecast for the rest of the country, and we're going to be really cold. There's a Arctic air coming in because of climate change. And so a lot of cold kids going to be out tonight in their costumes, maybe wearing them over their overcoats and everything else.
Yeah, well, living in Utah, it usually snowed about the week before Halloween, and so it was really cold on Halloween, but we were troopers. We went door to door. I mean, they don't do it really anymore. They mostly do the trunk or treats, which are, I mean, they're great, but nothing like the door to door we used to do.
So. Well, that's the truth. Some good news coming out of the Middle East from the standpoint of the Hamas commander who directed the October 7th attack on Israel and Israelis has been killed. So way to go for the good guys.
Yes, and still the craziness here in the States. I can't believe how many people are posting how pro-Hamas they are. It's amazing to me.
Yeah, it really is. Well, these are the same people who were eating Tide Pods 5 years ago and also are in favor of killing babies in the womb. So, and we're going to be talking about that this morning as well.
Yeah.
Great news from the folks at Thrive.
Yeah, and the Biden regime also announces that we have a new nuclear weapon more than 20 times more powerful than the one dropped on Hiroshima.
We already have one of those.
Well, I mean, maybe they're just using a really good marketing tool, like saying that it's new and maybe it's not. I'm not sure. But this comes just days after China announces they are doubling nuclear warheads by the year 2030. How does that make you feel, Bill?
Oh, just peachy.
Doesn't sound like we're on the midst of World War III at all, does it?
And once again, we have cretins like Joe Biden, who has mush for brains because his brain doesn't work anymore. It's broken. Telling our enemies what we have. This is the same thing this is the same crap that his former boss pulled, who's still the president, by the way, the Dalai Lama, and telling him when after we got Osama bin Laden, he starts talking about the SEAL team. I think he was naming names for God's sake, and talking about some of the methods that they were using. And finally, somebody told him to shut the hell up, that he was giving out top secret information. Of course, he should have been arrested for treason, given a fair trial, and executed to begin with. But that's another story. We'll talk about that on another day. But this is just pathetic, what we're going through and what this idiot is telling to the world. You keep that stuff sub rosa. It's pathetic, just disgusting. And these people, we always say you can't spell Democrat without R-A-T. Well, this is it. And if you vote for a Democrat, then the pox on both your houses.
Well, I also think we have to remember that these people do not love America.
No, they don't.
And I think that that's the most frustrating thing, Bill, is electing people that hate this country, want to see it damaged and, unrecognizable. And they've done a great job in 3 years. It's amazing how much damage they've been able to do in such a short amount of time. And Lizzie Warren says, add in China's hypersonic missiles. Yeah, things are looking really good right now.
Oh, just peachy.
Yeah, and, Bill, I watched the opening remarks for the trial going on in Denver, which is the trial to take Trump off the ballot because he is an insurrectionist, which is mind-blowing. And a lot of legal scholars are not on board with this reading of the law. They don't think it applies to the president. Not only that, he would have to be charged federally in order for them to do this. They're bringing this up in a state court.
All of this stuff is happening in state courts or local jurisdictions like New York that don't have jurisdiction over this crap in the first place.
Well, and this is a lesson. And the lesson is, you don't think that it's important for you to vote in local elections? It absolutely is. Colorado used to be a red state. Solid red, could count on it all the time. And then there was a lot of money that poured in there that flipped it. And it went purple, and now it is blue. And you have these crazy people that are giving money to organizations, these 501c3s, that are trying to get Trump off the ballot. And then you have a judge that says, well, I don't remember donating to that. Interesting.
Well, maybe she could go back and look at her bank account. We could do that. As a matter of fact, I think we ought to give out the judge's address and phone number so you can call her and ask.
Yeah, that would be a good idea. That's
Yeah.
what the left does.
Yeah, and go by her house and demonstrate.
Yeah.
And
Well, Steve Bannon had a take on this yesterday, and he's speaking with people in the Trump campaign that are on the ground there, and it's just disgusting.
yeah, that's how bad it is.
Mike Davis joins us by phone. Mike, you've warned us about this.
Yeah, I'm in the Denver District Court right now in front of this Democrats-appointed court judge, Sarah Wallace. She just donated last year, before she became a federal judge, to an organization that is trying to go after elected officials who supported Trump on January 6th. She should clearly recuse.
I have formed no opinion whether the events of January 6th constituted an insurrection or whether intervener Trump engaged in an insurrection. If I did, I would recuse myself. But because I don't, I deny the motion for recusal. Because I am the judge, I may ask questions. Do not infer anything by my questions.
Bukharin's fate was sealed at one of a series of show trials specially designed as propaganda events to create fear and instill obedience. The trials were a concoction of fake evidence and false accusations. Officials and journalists in the courtroom played their part in the same drama.
The mask of treason has been torn from their faces. Let the verdict be heard like thunder, like a fresh, purifying thunderstorm of Soviet justice. Our entire country demand only one thing, that the traitors and spies who wanted to sell out the homeland should be shot like rabid dogs.
You're watching something that no one in America would ever thought would have happened. And that is kangaroo courts every bit as deadly as the Nazi judges and Stalin's show trial on those two regimes. That's come to the United States of America. And the only way we're going to stop it is to defeat these people. There's no compromise here. So they're going to do everything now to take him off every ballot. Besides bankrupting him, liquidating his business, sending him to prison for 700 years, they will leave no stone unturned to defeat you. Let me repeat this, to defeat you, to take your voice away. Because they're petrified now. You've started to change the cartel, and I told you this wasn't going to be perfect, right? We got work to do. You got ramparts to man. But you saw in Denver, Colorado, the great state of Colorado, and one of the greatest cities in this country, Denver, Colorado. Think how much history's been made there. And history is made today as a kangaroo court, the detestable kangaroo court, tries to take Donald John Trump off the ballot.
That is absolutely, the chill should be running up your spine right now.
Well, and they just need one state to do this. And here's the thing, they're going to tie this up in court. So if this woman rules and decides to take him off the ballot, it goes to the Colorado State Supreme Court. It'll go to, I think this is the 10th Circuit, actually. So I think it'll go to the Supreme Court and then in Colorado, and then it would have to go to the Supreme Court at the federal level, which could take forever. Yeah. I don't know if you know how our legal system works, but it's not quick by any means.
Yeah, but that's for sure. It moves at glacial speed for the most part. Meanwhile, I'd like to find out who does her hair. This reminds me of all the hippies and all that we went to school with back in the 60s. These people were running around. And these are the people who are now in charge of the media and are also on the campus teaching our kids on the campuses now. They were running around at Cal Jerkley when they had all the riots and demonstrations against the Vietnam War. And it was absolutely, the news media refused to, in fact, were cooperating with it. They'd hand some guy a rock and say, throw that through the window, because we got to have something good to put on television. Yes. As long as it, as it bleeds, it leads.
Yes, and Mary McCann Hybrider's with us this morning. She says it's all about lawfare. They don't care about the law. It's a political persecution. Mm-hmm. Lizzie Warren's with us, and she says some of the right quotes doxes conservatives too. And Lizzie Warren says, shame, shame, shame on conservatives who enabled and participated in this stainless behavior by voting for Biden. Bill, I was thinking the same thing about her hair.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, you can look at her and just, I mean,
Yeah,
it's amazing that you can tell she's a liberal.
She's a liberal Democrat, but I repeat myself. These hippie guys ran around, and all these rioters back then. Fortunately, at Ole Miss, we had a few pseudo hippies, but we didn't have we were actually still going to class. We weren't overtaking the administration building and threatening the life of the president or the chancellor. And they were out there. They were demonstrating on all different cities at the White House, hair down to their butts, and were familiar with every four-letter word except soap. It's just unbelievable how bad they were, and actually tried to compare themselves to the signers of the Declaration of Independence. And if you know what happened to the signers of the Declaration of Independence, you know what idiots they are. How idiotic that is. The signers, all of them, they never recanted. Every one of them, to a man, stayed with the Constitution, even though they lost children, they lost wives, they lost their entire families, they lost their fortunes because they pledged their fortunes, their sacred honor, and their lives, and they never went back. And these are the people that these left-wing cretins were comparing themselves to. It was disgusting, because that was never taught in our schools then either. I didn't find out a lot about the Constitution until after I graduated from college.
That's correct. That's how it is for me too, Bill.
Yeah, and back in then, we actually taught stuff that was practical, so you could get a job.
Well, and here's the other thing, Bill.
And we knew what men and women were, and they didn't. And women were not allowed to have men competing on their teams.
Yeah, those were the days, weren't they, Bill?
Yeah, they were.
Well, Michigan also has a similar case against Trump being on the ballot, but also consider this case is brought forward by 6 people.
Yeah.
6 people. And they're going to determine that they have standing to take someone off the ballot. I think it's absolutely wrong. We should let voters decide. But also, where are the Republicans with their counter? I mean, honestly, should we be civilly suing these 6 people because of what they're doing, and they're taking away our ability to have who we want as president? I think that there's a lot of things that we could be doing to play ball. Yes, it costs money, but I do think that Republicans are tired of not getting their money's worth. That's why we're seeing people not give money to the RNC, not give money to the state GOP, and not give money to the local GOPs.
I get calls from them all the time. Said, "Look, when I see you grow a backbone, you'll see some money." Well,
and here's the thing, Bill. If they start playing ball and playing dirty, then we'll be in good shape. I mean, I think that people will start donating. I think we'll start having wins. I mean, right now we just kind of lay down and take it.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, and
but if you like to talk to one of your elected officials, in many cases, especially if they're a Democrat, good luck. John Fetterman, that tower of haberdashery excellence was questioned by a constituent just yesterday.
I'm sorry, this isn't democracy.
It absolutely is.
Yeah, but kind of, sort of. Why? 10,000 people in Gaza have been killed, half are children. The Pope's calling for a ceasefire. The UN is called for it. I'm just asking you, you're a good guy. I voted for you. I know you're a nice guy. This is important.
You need to leave.
Here, can I give you a phone? Here. I asked you Senator a question.
He just assaulted him. He just assaulted him. He just assaulted him. He just assaulted him. He was just talking to him. He's assaulted him.
All right, looks like the jackbooted thugs that surrounds Fetterman look like they go to the same clothing store.
Yeah, well, and I think that we also need to start correcting people. We are a constitutional republic, not a democracy. Because I do think that that's where a lot of this gets lost too. Is that
our precious democracy.
Well, and that's the thing. People don't understand that we're a constitutional republic. They don't understand what the differences are. I think it creates confusion, which is by design, right, Bill?
Absolutely.
And Mary McCann Hybrider said TDS, Trump derangement syndrome on steroids. And we have to start biting back, says Steve Stanton Sr. Absolutely.
Okay. All right. Happy Halloween. You know what a Jewish pirate says?
I do not.
Ahoy vey. All right. Coming up next.
Well, we're going to be talking to Paula Kennard at Thrive.
Yeah, we're saving babies, and we're also going to show you some Halloween decorations a little bit later. Stick around.
The Savannah area with the power of the Shield since 1934, with personal insurance, employee benefits, and business insurance, with integrity, security, and trust. For more information, go to thepoweroftheshield.com.
Loxy, Coffee Fox, and Henny Penny, making life better for Savannahans with their kolaches, tacos, coffees. They're just amazing. Buy local and keep the torch lit.
I don't think it's an accident that I ended up writing music for a living, because I think I lived in a house where I saw how deeply it affected everyone in the house. And just how much everyone defined themselves by the music they listened to.
Music as a framework, I think, gave my parents my identity from a young age. You can like any music that you want if it makes you feel happy. And now when I hear certain songs, I think of them, and I think of them in their happiest state, and it makes me happy.
If they seem like they're having trouble talking about something, I try to tell them about a time when I felt something similar.
Whatever the issue was, we would tell them the pros and cons and how important it was that they had come to us because we could always help them. I think the real important point, we always told them, no matter what you do, no matter what happens, we will help you through it no matter what it is.
Are you a mom or dad? Do you have little kids with big dreams? Well, hopefully your kids aren't white or Asian, because if they are, they will have a very hard time getting into their dream college or landing their dream job. Top schools and corporations are run by left-wing Democrats, and they openly discriminate against whites and Asians. So even if your daughter has the best test scores, even if your son has amazing grades, even if they spend extra hours studying and doing everything right, it won't be enough. Unless you suddenly discover that you're part Cherokee, or transgender, or in the country illegally. Otherwise, your kids are out of luck. Which begs the question, if Democrats are hurting your children, why would you ever vote for them? Stop the bigotry. Stop the insanity. Paid for by Citizens for Sanity.
My name is Paula Kennard, and I am the Executive Director of Thrive Express Savannah. United for Life to His Glory is our umbrella corporation, and we are now 7 years old today. And what God has done in this time is so magnificent, we can only shout, only God. It literally, this whole idea started on 34th Street in front of the abortion clinic that had operated in Savannah for 40 years in our beautiful historic downtown. So many people in Savannah were not even aware of it, but we know that over 100,000 babies were killed in that place. And Debbie Blackburn with Coastal Right to Life actually started a 40 Days for Life prayer campaign. And I came to pray, having no idea how the Lord would use that to open my eyes and call me into action. So I started by praying.
You know, when you say 100,000, that's almost half the population of Savannah.
And that's how many babies lost their lives with their mothers and grandmothers and fathers paying the abortionist on 34th Street to end the life of their child.
So this facility that you have now is almost a proverbial dream come true.
It is the antidote to what we saw. During the 40 Days for Life campaign, it was actually on an Ash Wednesday at 7 a.m. that February. I was there to pray for my hour, my vigil, and the Lord revealed his glory. He literally covered up the abortion clinic and the mosque with a radiance that's hard to imagine. I've actually got some pictures of it, just that I snapped with my cell phone. But I knew then that he was showing me something, and sure enough, we kept praying, and then came Thrive Savannah, and then after that, we were able to take our mobile down and have a presence on 34th Street. And the actual day that Roe reversed, the clinic closed, having really nothing to do with each other except that God wanted us to be sure to find that out. But he actually closed the clinic on that day. And we had already located in front of the Planned Parenthood that most Savannahans don't know still operates. And although to our knowledge, they do not do the surgical abortions, they certainly have been involved in many of the chemical abortions. And as we have observed in the last couple of years, the Savannah Planned Parenthood is obviously involved in the mutilation, the transitioning of young men to women and young men into women, young women into men, and which we all understand is an absolute impossibility, but it is just a nightmare and a grief to watch the tormented souls that go in. Men in fishnet hose or women trying to dress and walk like a man. And of course, with the hormones, and they talk like a man. And we pray and we pray and we invite them into a compassionate conversation if they're interested.
How have you turned people around? I know sometimes you stand outside the planned infanticide clinic and ask, what people are doing there, or people come to you and think they're at Planned Parenthood.
Absolutely. We have had, and I would have to go back and look at our statistics, but it's about a 50% turnaway. We call it diversions. And honestly, if they're there for abortion, those are the main ones that we want to talk with. We invite them into our center for our pre-abortion screening. That involves the medical grade pregnancy test, that involves a limited obstetric ultrasound, and STD testing and treatment. We encourage them not to go through with another procedure until they're sure it's a viable pregnancy, until they're sure the pregnancy is in the uterus and not in the fallopian tube, and that they know they're free from STD. So we will test and treat. We do all of that at no cost. And just as a side note, we also provide post-abortion counseling for the young women who choose abortion. We do not abandon them. We continue to reach out because, as in my story, I aborted my second child, and the enemy used that to really torment me for many years. But I found at the cross of Jesus Christ full forgiveness, and I found out that his word is true, that we overcome the enemy. Who is our enemy? Jesus said he comes to steal, kill, and destroy. But Jesus also told us, I've come that they might have life and have it abundantly, have it to the fullest. So I can tell you firsthand that if we overcome the enemy by the blood of the Lamb, which is my salvation, my receiving the blood as full payment for all of my sin, including my abortion, and then by the word of my testimony that I can tell other young women, it is not the relief and the cure that you have been told, that there really is an everlasting component to it, and that we want to use our lives, that we don't love our lives to the death, that we use our lives to serve the Lord, to introduce others into a God not of hatred and wrath, but a God who will forgive, and he is standing, he's asking them, how, whatever your circumstances, however whatever mistakes you've made, however you've butchered your body or others, that today he's calling unto you to come to him, to receive forgiveness, and to receive the inheritance that you have as a follower of Christ, the inheritance to change the world as we know it, to do what he has called you to do.
And through your facility, and we hear these stories all the time of once a young lady comes in and sees that really is a child.
Yes, sir.
That it turns things around pretty rapidly.
We have been in that tiny center, less than 900 square feet, or less than 1,000, right at 900 square feet. To date, or through the end of July, we have had 5,400 patient visits. We have had 1,193 young women who were abortion determined. They have chosen life. 1,193 babies have been born. We just recently had one of our first ones start pre-K. And I saw the picture, her mom sent it to me. I said, may we use that? We sent it out in an email. So Thrive Savannah is affecting generations. I didn't think about my abortion generationally until my granddaughter was born. Mm-hmm. And the day I got the call and there was an urgency, there was an emergency, things were not going well with the delivery. And I was driving from Savannah to Atlanta, praying, as you can imagine, the whole time. And my eyes were opened. So my son was having his first child. My daughter that I aborted would never have a child. So not only did I abort her, but I ended that line of that generation. So we are making, when I tell you 1,193 babies saved, that is a generational number that will, we believe, affect eternity in the kingdom of God.
And you have the up-to-date modern equipment. You've got state-of-the-art stuff.
We've got state-of-the-art ultrasound machines. We have the one in our center is a very expensive, very accurate piece of equipment that not only shows the young ladies the baby in the womb and it shows them the heartbeat, but it has the Doppler so that they can hear the heartbeat and they can see. And we were blessed by Focus on the Family, who examined our ministry carefully and decided that yes, we were able to receive that marvelous gift that was very pricey. And then another group called Preborn gave us the fabulous state-of-the-art ultrasound machine for our mobile unit. So the same thing, when we have our nurses and sonographers on the mobile unit, we can have a client go through all of the procedures that she can in our clinic. And she can also receive the pregnancy test, the STD testing, but most importantly, she can receive the ultrasound. And she can not only see her baby and the heartbeat, but she can hear the heartbeat, because that one also has a Doppler. And we're able to give them pictures. But I told you, we consider that ultrasound an audition for life. Mm-hmm. The babies often truly put on a show. And it's almost like they are saying, I am here and I am alive. Isn't it interesting that if we find a molecule on Mars, we start jumping up and down and we say, look, there's life. And here we still have a whole sector of our population who tries to deny the humanity of the baby in the womb.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, keep up the Lord's work here, Paula. Obviously, you're saving lots of lives, and that lineage that you talked about And how can people help?
We need to build up what we call our Champions for Life Army. And that goes many different ways. We need more medical volunteers. We love our nurses, our nurse practitioners. We need sonographers. When we have a nurse that we know has the vision of Thrive, we will actually train her to do the ultrasound. So we need more medical team. We also need non-medical. We need young women, especially, that we can train as advocates to sit down and to hear the stories of the young women, to know what their needs are, and then try to meet. And even as today, you've seen, we have the baby boutique. So we need women that are willing to come in to sort through our donations, to keep the baby boutique really an asset, that the girls know that they're being blessed. And there's a lot of work that goes into that. We need a representative, a contact in all of our churches in our area that will be the conduit to talk about things like our upcoming event that we're having on September 7th out at the Palmetto Club at the Landings. Danny Goki, we're so excited, is going to be our guest that evening. And we heard Danny Goki at a conference in Louisville, Kentucky this year. And what really got our attention, the way he led that crowd in worship. So we've asked Danny to come to Savannah to bless our people with that same worship. And Bill, just so you know, he's working on a patriotic album, and he is bringing some of his patriotic music with him. I assured him it would be well received in Savannah, Georgia.
Amen to that. All right. And we've heard about attacks on pro-life clinics. Had any trouble here?
We have been very blessed. I think part of it is our location, that we're inside a building. During those days, actually for several weeks after Roe's reversal, when some of the groups were really acting out, we had what we called a security watch. So we had eyes on our building, on our doors 24/7. And although there might have been a couple of cars show up, they knew they were being filmed and recorded, and they decided to leave. So we can tell you that outside of a little damage to our mobile unit that we know is vandalism, outside of that, we have been protected and blessed.
Keep up the Lord's work. Thank you.
Amen, sir. Thank you.
The Savannah area with the power of the Shield since 1934, with personal insurance, employee benefits, and business insurance, with integrity, security, and trust. For more information, go to thepoweroftheshield.com.
When I grow up, I want to work for a woke company, like super woke.
When I grow up, I want to be hired based on what I look like
rather than my skills.
I want to be judged by my political beliefs. I want to get promoted
Based on my chromosomes.
when I grow up
I want to be offended
by my coworkers
and walk around the office
on eggshells
and have my words policed
by HR. Words like
grandfather, peanut gallery,
long time no see.
no can do.
When I grow up, I want to be obsessed with emotional safety and do workplace sensitivity training all day long.
When I grow up, I want to climb the corporate ladder.
Just by following the crowd.
I want to be a conformist. I want to weaponize my pronouns. What are pronouns?
It's time to grow up and get back to work. Introducing the #1 woke-free job board in America, redballoon.work.
Foxy Loxy, Coffee Fox, and Henny Penny, making life better for Savannahans with their kolaches, tacos, coffees. They're just amazing. Buy local and keep the torch lit.
Welcome back to Get Real America.
Happy Halloween. I'm Bill Edwards.
I'm Brittany Brown.
You know what kind of music a mummy likes?
I do not.
Rap.
Very good. Very good.
I got a million of them.
Yeah, I like it. I'm glad you're here, Bill. Glad you're here.
Yeah.
So a couple of comments. Lizzie Warren says, Paula Kennard is a force. She sure is.
Yep.
And Mary McCann Hybrider says, God bless and protect her. And then Lizzie Warren also says, OMG, did not know that Planned Parenthood was working in the transgender arena. Well, they got to make money somehow. Yeah. I actually was not aware of that either until this interview. So kind of scary that they've just adapted so quickly.
Yeah, since I guess selling body parts is down, so maybe they have to, get other streams of income.
Oh, I guess they're just taking body parts.
Yeah, true.
Dealing in body parts is, I guess, pretty profitable.
I remember a phone call I got on my radio show when the Dalai Lama was still the dictator, the president, and he was talking about one of his daughters. They were talking about abortions and stuff. If my daughter makes a mistake, I don't want her to have a baby or whatever. He's like, so baby is a mistake. And one of the callers, who was black, by the way, called up and said, do you realize he was advocating killing his grandchild? And that's the first time I had thought about it like that. When Paula said that, when you think about abortions generationally, the ones who will never be here because of an abortion. I had another guest on that wrote a book called "Don't Kill Your Future Self," and some months back we did an interview with a marvelous gentleman down in Brunswick, and he had started Heroes Home. I'm having a Biden moment here, but he had talking about the
Companions for Heroes.
Companions for Heroes. That's it. Yeah, thank you very much.
It took me a minute too, but I'm like, okay.
I knew it would come to me.
Yes.
From the stars above. Nevertheless, he had the gun in his mouth and ready to pull the trigger. He was an Air Force vet who had gone through several deployments. All of his friends around him were committing suicide or were committed to mental institutions or some sort, or were homeless. And he didn't think there was any hope for him. Had the gun in his mouth twice, finger on the trigger, when his comfort dog came in and started licking his face and saved his life, and realized maybe there was a higher purpose. He has two beautiful children now that he's raising who would not be here had he pulled that trigger. And I just look at these kids and I just say what marvelous miracles they are, and that they came within milliseconds of never existing.
Yes, and Steve Stanton says God bless the work that she does, and they are on our permanent prayer list at church, which is great. Mary McCann Hybrider says, regarding abortion in the USA, 2 Chronicles 7:14, if my people which are called by my name shall humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then I will hear from heaven and will forgive their sin and will heal their land.
And it kind of reminds me of the movie that Pam and I went to see over the weekend at the recommendation of some good friends, called After Death. And it's produced by Angel Studios, same people that are doing the
Sound of Freedom.
Sound of Freedom, as well as The Chosen, about the life of Christ. And it is wonderfully produced, but it has several. It's a documentary type event, starting off with a cardiologist who said that he was the biggest skeptic in the world when he first started hearing about these stories about people who were giving these after-death experiences and came back from being clinically dead. All of them saying, many of them saying they felt themselves above, that they could see themselves like either on an operating table or in an accident,
like an out-of-body experience.
Yeah, right. It started off with a plane crash, and the pilot looking down and saying, "Well, that's me. What am I?" And he said he didn't. He felt that they all felt this calm, but especially the ones who saw the resuscitation process being done in an operating room or something, and they said, they've done all these documents. Said these people couldn't have possibly known. They started talking about the doctor's name, what they said, the conversation that was going on. Said they couldn't have known that if they were dead. Because there was no, it didn't look like, because some of them have been dead 9-10 minutes.
Yeah.
And it said, so it is a fascinating thing to hear these stories about how they came back and how they felt. Especially the guy, the pastor that wrote the book, My 90 Minutes in Heaven, which I had read some years back, and I mean he was declared clinically dead for over 2 hours in this horrible car accident. You look at when you see the pictures of the car, you said, how in the world could he have lived anyway? But he said, and he felt a little angry that God sent him back. And a lot of them were told by Jesus himself, said, you're not supposed to be here right now. You still have work to do. And suddenly they're back. I highly recommend it. It's called After Death. It's really, really good and eye-opening. And they also tell some stories of the people who didn't go to heaven and called out and realized that they were going to hell and called out for Christ to save them and were saved. It's an eye-opener, shall we say.
Yeah, and that movie will get harder and harder to see after Thursday this week.
Mm-hmm.
The amount of theaters that they're in goes down. So it is here in Savannah right now up until Thursday. I suggest you guys go check it out.
Yep. It's at the AMC, which is behind the old Savannah Mall, whatever they're going to do with that. Maybe it'll be from homeless shelters.
Yeah.
And then also at the one off of Victory Drive where the Home Depot and Target.
Yeah, that's actually a really nice theater.
Yeah.
It's a really nice theater.
They spent a lot of money redoing
Yep, and it's out in Pooler, of course, so check it out there. And Lizzie Warren says, punished with a baby, and Mary McCann Hybreeder says, a baby is a miraculous gift from God.
Isn't that the truth?
Yes, and we're all grateful for Paula. She does amazing work, and if you don't know Paula, you are definitely missing out. She's one of the most incredible humans you'll ever meet. Sometimes when she talks to you, she makes you feel overwhelmed because you're like, how do you deal with all of this stuff all the time, all these stories, all these young girls, the girls that are trafficked. I mean, what she does day in and day out is just incredible. And she does deal a lot with the trafficking that's happening here in our area. And I don't think we talk enough about that, Bill. I think that we're one of the top cities for that. And there's not a lot of mainstream talk about this in WTOC, WJCL, any of these stations.
But yet people will spend hundreds of thousands of dollars advertising with them and don't spend a dime with us.
Yes,
we need your help, okay?
Yes, and we will be back on the air, but we are going to be on air for a limited time. If people don't get involved, don't donate, don't become sponsors for our show.
Could be the last hurrah. Next month could be the last hurrah. So just to let you know, we're not trying to cry poor mouth here. It's just a matter of fact. But when people are lied to about abortions, they're also lied to about climate change.
Oh, climate change.
And there's a geologist, a professor, who is talking to us about the fraud that's being perpetrated on us.
I don't have opinions. I have demonstrable facts. These facts are validated and these facts are repeatable. Fact number one, no one has ever shown that human emissions of carbon dioxide drive global warming. Never been shown. And if it could be shown, then you would have to show that the 97% of emissions, which are natural, do not drive global warming. Game over. We are dealing with a fraud. It's a scientific fraud from day one. We hear the propaganda that increases of the gas of life, a trace gas in the atmosphere, will bring a disaster and that we will have runaway global warming. Sorry, folks, we've known for 200 years from chemistry that it's the exact inverse. Now, I'm sure some of you tried this last night at the dinner with a champagne or a beer, and you forgot to drink it, and it warmed up and it kept bubbling and bubbling and bubbling and bubbling. And that is the inverse solubility of carbon dioxide. We've known that for 200 years. We see it from the ice cores. When we drill into ice, we have chemical fingerprints that tell us what the temperature was, and we have little bits of trapped air. And we can show that when we had natural warming, some 650 to 6,000 years later, we had an increase in carbon dioxide. It's not carbon dioxide that drives temperature, it's the exact inverse. Another fraud.
Here you go, you're being lied to. And why did they call Greenland Greenland? Because once upon a time, it was green.
Well, and Lizzie Warren says, my brave college freshman nephew told his professor that the water levels are unchanged in the coastal city in which he has resided his whole life. Yeah. I do know, in talking with Lizzie Warren, that that professor did proclaim to, she is going to change his mind this semester, so maybe we'll have to check back in with Lizzie and see if that happened. And then Mary McCann Hybrider said, so many lies, it's always about pushing a narrative and creating fear. Governments use fear to gain control.
I always love it when they said, the ice caps are melting, so the oceans are going to rise. So why don't you take a glass of water, put a bunch of ice in it, and as the ice melts, wait for the water to start overflowing the glass.
That doesn't happen, Bill.
Yeah. Really?
But also, when you look at the Statue of Liberty, I think that that's a perfect one because we have so many photos of it. It really hasn't changed.
Not much.
And Obama keeps buying houses on the oceanfront, so he's not too worried about it. It's weird how that works, isn't it?
It really is.
And the banks keep giving loans on oceanfront property. If they were really concerned with climate change, they would not be giving mortgages on those homes.
Exactly. All right. Coming up next, happy Halloween.
Yes, we take all things Halloween around here in Savannah, and also, the tale of two presidents when it comes to Halloween.
Yeah, that's all the way. Stay real.
Foxy Loxy, Coffee Fox, and Henny Penny, making life better for Savannahans with their kolaches, tacos, coffees. They're just amazing. Buy local and keep the torch lit.
The Savannah area with the power of the Shield since 1934 with personal insurance, employee benefits, and business insurance. With integrity, security, and trust. For more information, go to thepoweroftheshield.com.
Looking to buy a business or sell a business, the experts at Best Business Brokers have you covered. Whether you're ready to cash in on your years of hard work or you're taking that first step in buying a business of your own, they're here to guide you through the process and make sure you get the best outcome possible. By having Best Business Brokers assist you when you buy a business or sell a business, they handle the legwork of the intricate process. This ensures a smooth transition of ownership, allowing you to get to work immediately or receive payment for your business as soon as possible. With base operations in Savannah and Charleston, they service all of Georgia and South Carolina. If you're considering starting a business here, the mild winters and 5-tiered economic areas make these the perfect places to do so. If you're ready to buy a business or sell a business, then you're ready to contact Best Business Brokers. Visit their website at b3brokers.com or call at 912-349-0940.
Have you ever boarded a plane and thought to yourself, I hope the pilot is a transgender refugee? Have you ever gone to the emergency room and said, I hope my medical team is incredibly diverse? Have you ever moved to a new city and said, I hope the police department hit its equity goals for the year? If your answer to these questions was no, if you just wanted the most qualified candidates for the job, then you are normal. But we have a lot of very not normal people running America these days. Left-wing politicians believe skin color or gender identity should determine who gets the job. Democrats used to care about the middle class. Now they just care about your race and your gender. And as long as Democrats stay in power, it will just keep getting worse. Stop the bigotry. Stop the insanity. Paid for by Citizens for Sanity.
Savannah, I'm coming home. Savannah, we'll never be alone. Savannah, the beauty of the world. Savannah, let's all take a ride. Savannah, I'm coming home. Savannah.
Welcome back to Get Real America.
Happy Halloween.
Yes.
I'm Bill Edwards.
I'm Brittany Brown.
Did you hear about the identical twin warlocks?
Oh, geez. No.
Couldn't tell which was which. Okay.
You can use all these jokes today.
That's right. Yes, sirree.
Oh, Bill.
Yes.
You were out and about yesterday, weren't you?
I was, yes.
You were out checking out the wonderful Halloween decorations. I will tell you, there probably is not another city like Savannah that does Halloween as big as Savannah. I drove around my neighborhood yesterday as well, and I was like, people had these huge, like 6-foot, like wildebeest looking things with chains wrapped around. I was like,
oh, yeah.
This is very scary. Like, I'm sure that children are terrified. Well, I'm thinking of like a little 3 or 4 year old walking around. Like, that's going to be terrifying. I don't remember this big of Halloween decorations.
I had a friend that used to hide in the bushes and
That's
jump
so
out
cruel.
when the kids came up, and he had a chainsaw. And he
You can't do that
thing up
these
as
days.
he jumped out of the bushes. Yeah, it was amazing.
Yeah, you cannot do that these days. But, you know, what happened to just like the pumpkins and the little ghosts? But now it's like, I mean, it's amazing. I think I had a 12-foot tall Nightmare Before Christmas guy that was in one of my neighbor's yards. I was like, okay,
for
you guys
sure.
spent a lot of time.
People
putting
really
these up.
go all out. It used to be just Christmas where you'd see these things. Now this is around my neighborhood, and some of this stuff is maybe a little out of focus. It's hard for the camera to focus when it's this dark. But this is the first time I had seen it at night. And you can see this Horcrux, if you know what that is, from Harry Potter to the left there. And then this is just one house, and it's on a corner lot. And I think they've got, it looks like 18 acres.
Yeah.
It's just amazing. This goes all the way around the corner. And here's a little bit of a different perspective. This is the graveyard in the front yard.
I see a lot of those. The graveyards.
And you can see the Dracula in the coffin. There up there on the tree to the right with the red background, and I was just walking past it to give you another perspective. As we look back, because when you look in a different direction, you're going to be seeing the witch and the cauldron that are just on the left hand side of your screen. Now, again, this is just one house.
Are they also this decorated for Christmas?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, they go all out for Christmas as well.
Oh, that's kind of scary.
This is a werewolf.
Yeah.
That's right there on the corner. Again, same house. And then they have like the headless horseman.
Oh.
And the talking pumpkin. Jack-o'-lantern.
I like it.
These are people that just I don't know if they do this professionally or what, but it is unbelievable. I cannot imagine the time it takes to put all this up, then take it down, and where the heck do they put it?
Yeah, exactly. They have a storage unit,
right? They kind of add to it every year, and you can see coming over we're getting closer to their garage, and they've got more stuff there as well. When our daughter was out walking her dog recently, when he came up on that werewolf, started backing off.
Yeah, I can imagine that would be terrifying for an animal.
Yeah, for sure.
Mary McCann Hybrider said they have the haunted trail at the landings, and it's very scary. And Steve Stanton says that he went to Columbus, Ohio. They go all out for Halloween as well. Well, I think also being the most haunted city.
And this is another house. This isn't the same house. This is another house in our neighborhood. And these are also people who go all out for Christmas as well.
What are these?
They're some sort of a snake, serpent, or something. And then there's this ghost haunted thingy right there. It was lighting up. So
very scary stuff. Savannah is the most. I think it's the number 1 most haunted city or number 3. We're in the top 3.
And the most haunted place in Savannah is the brewing company downtown. Right across the street from the Hyatt, and they've had people who actually have A&E did a great documentary on the haunted Savannah.
Yeah,
and they had waitresses or servers. I'm sorry, didn't mean to be racist or sexist.
Sexist, yeah.
But they had servers who had quit. Because they'd be walking across the room with a tray full of glasses, and all of a sudden something just swept the glasses right off the tray. And a friend of mine who does ghost tours said that he would go up, and he was a skeptic when he first moved down here from Ohio, and he was doing these ghost tours, and they would go up to like the 3rd floor of this place, and it used to be a ballroom. And they look around, it's kind of some office space now. But they would come down to start sampling the beers that this place produces. And Moon River Brewing Company, by the way.
Okay.
And people would start coming up to him. And he said at first he thought it was all just a joke, that they all got together on this. But these are people, his tours are people that don't know each other, from all over the country or the world. And we kept coming up to him, who was the lady in the antebellum dress upstairs? And he was like, there was no lady in antebellum dress. And he sort of brushed that off, and somebody else on another tour would come up and ask him the same question. And he's like, well, maybe. And he lived he had rented a place at Tybee, and he kept going up, and it was 3 stories. And he kept hearing that there was a little storage room up there, and that had one of those little metal bolt lock type things.
Mm-hmm.
And he kept finding it unlocked, even though he'd locked it. And he kept finding it unlocked. And he goes up there one day, and it's unlocked, and he latches it, and he's walking back, and he hears it unlock again. And he said, I'm moving.
Yep, I don't blame him. I do not blame him. Well, there are the tale of 2 presidents, Bill.
Yes, there are.
We have Mr. President Joe Biden, which is hard for me to say sometimes.
Yes.
The
faux president.
Yeah, we're going to take a look at how he is for Halloween.
Yeah.
The ice cream, he's just such a creepy old man. And then, of course, we have the previous president who...
The real president.
Yeah, looks vastly different. Cute little pumpkins.
Okay.
Yes. But how cute is that? I mean, look at the difference.
Yeah.
Look at the difference. Look how dark this is compared to what it looked like under Trump. This just looks, I don't know.
Well, it looks like, creepy Halloween.
Yeah, well, it basically reminds me that it reminds me of his speech, the famous speech of him with the red background. Like, it's just like the optics.
Looked like he was coming. Looked like he was coming from the jaws of hell.
Yes. So, anyways, Lizzie Warren says he's feeble. He absolutely is. Melania doesn't wear shower curtains either. Melania, one of the best dressed and almost one of the most proper women to ever be in the White House.
Could you imagine if she were, or if it had been Michelle Maybell, who could speak 7 languages and wrote these books and designed all these beautiful and had this very successful cosmetic and fashion line and everything that was so successful. You imagine the glowing reports we'd be hearing from the media on this woman?
Yeah, and I hate to break it to you, she was probably one of the best dressed first ladies we've ever had in this country.
Without a doubt.
So definitely beats out Jill Biden. And
so was Nancy Reagan.
Yes, and you're absolutely right. And Mary McCann Highbreeder says, Happy Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
And Steve Stanton Sr. says, will y'all be here tomorrow?
We will.
We will, but that means that we need your help. We need you guys to donate. We need you guys to share and like our videos. We need you to tell people about us, and we need people to become sponsors. Very, very important.
Yeah, step up to the plate, show some courage. Because we need it. If you want America to survive, and I'm not saying that our little voice in the wilderness is going to help, but anything helps. And do you know what? Did you hear about the pirate that had 2 wooden legs?
I did not.
One day he caught fire and burned to the ground. Okay, fine. All right.
Well, we're going to leave
See
you
you after the show. I'm here all week. Yeah, tip the waiters. Try the veal. Actually, I'm not here all week.
No, Bill will not be here all week. So he's going to Asheville. So it's very exciting. But we're going to leave you with Lizzie.
Well, if you know the story of Lizzie Borden,
yes,
who was accused of chopping her family to death with a hatchet, but she somehow got off the hook or got off the hatchet or whatever it was found not guilty. But the legend lives on. And back in the days when folk music was king in the early 60s, the Chad Mitchell Trio had a great song about her. So we leave you with the Chad Mitchell Trio's Lizzie Borden.
Elizabeth Borden took an axe and gave her mother 40 whacks. And when the job was nicely done, she gave her father 41. Yesterday in Old Fall River, Mr. Andrew Borden died, and he got his daughter Lizzie on a charge of homicide. Some folks say she didn't do it, and others say of course she did. But they all agree Miss Lizzie B was a problem kind of kid. 'Cause you can't chop your papa up in Massachusetts, not even if his plan is a surprise. A surprise! No, you can't chop your papa up in Massachusetts. You know how neighbors love to criticize. Got him on the sofa where he'd gone to take a snooze, and I hope he went to heaven 'cause he wasn't wearing shoes. Lizzie kinda rearranged him with a hatchet, so they say. Then she got her mother in that same old-fashioned way. But you can't chop your mama up in Massachusetts, not even if you're tired of her cuisine. Her cuisine, no, you can't chop your mama up in Massachusetts. They know it's almost sure to cause a scene. Well, they really kept her hopping on that busy afternoon, with both down and upstairs chapping while she hummed a ragtime tune. They really made her hustle, and when all was said and done, she removed her mother's bustle when she wasn't wearing one. Oh, you can't chop your mama up in Massachusetts and then blame all the damage on the mice. No, you can't chop your mama up in Massachusetts. That kind of thing just isn't very nice. Now, it wasn't done for pleasure, and it wasn't done for spite, and it wasn't done because the lady wasn't very bright. She'd always done the slightest thing that Mom and Papa bid. They said, Lizzie, cut it out. So that's exactly what she did. And then get dressed and go out for a walk. No, you can't chop your papa up in Massachusetts. Massachusetts is a far cry from New York. No, you can't chop your papa up in Massachusetts. Shut the door and lock and latch it. Here comes Lizzie with a brand new hatchet. Your papa up in Massachusetts. Such a snob, I've heard it said. She met her pa and cut him dead. You can't chop your papa up in Massachusetts. Jump like a fish, jump like a porpoise. All join hands and habeas corpus. Can't chop your papa up in Massachusetts. Massachusetts is a far cry from